There are groups that promise you truth, salvation, paradise. But some of them also get something in return, your mental freedom. You know, like those toxic partners who treat you like royalty at first, until they get what they want. In this investigation, we will answer the question: do Jehovah's Witnesses use psychological manipulation techniques? We will answer this question with documentary evidence and, as always, with common sense. Hello, my name is Nogwachi, and this is With Common Sense. This research is based on the work of psychologists specializing in coercive persuasion, such as Margaret Singer, Janja Lalich, and Robert Lifton. Every Jehovah's Witness has that inner feeling of being part of the organization by choice. I myself felt that way for over 20 years. But that's precisely the point. You don't realize you're being manipulated. Just like when you walk into a store looking for a pair of pants, and you walk out with 3 shirts, 6 pairs of socks, a pair of sunglasses, 2 belts, an umbrella, a hat, and a beanie for the dog, all with the feeling that it was your decision. Let's look at the elements that psychology has identified as means of psychological coercion. 1. Control the information they receive. Jehovah's Witnesses are warned that reading or watching videos that criticize them or contain religious information from other churches is an act of disloyalty that can lead them away from their faith. The next time witnesses knock on your door, do this. Tell them you promise to read the literature they're offering you if they agree to read a religious book you offer, or if you're not a believer, a book on evolution. And tell me, what did they tell you? Witnesses are also encouraged to abandon bad associations. By definition, a bad association for them is anyone who isn't a witness. 2. Keeping them constantly occupied with duties that prevent them from fully integrating into their social environment. Some of the duties of the witnesses are attending the Kingdom Hall twice a week, preparing meetings, preaching, leading Bible studies, having personal Bible study, as well as family study, reading the daily text, reading all Watchtower publications, attending long assemblies, praying, meditating, and much more. It's no coincidence that so many Jehovah's Witnesses experience burnout. 3. Totalitarian leaders proclaim themselves to be chosen by God. Jehovah's Witnesses are taught that the only means by which Jehovah feeds his sheep is through the faithful and wise slave of Matthew 24:45-47, which to them is the governing body, a group of older men who direct the work of the witnesses from Warwick, New York. 4. Members believe they are predestined to form a central part of human history, or even to have the responsibility of saving it. Jehovah's Witnesses believe that their work of preaching or witnessing is a work directed by God to gather those who will be saved from Armageddon. 5. The world is divided between good and evil, truth and lies. Jehovah's Witnesses call their doctrines the truth, and believe that only those who believe and follow the commandments of this set of beliefs will be saved at Armageddon. For them, the world is divided between Jehovah's Witnesses and worldly people. 6. A specific terminology or jargon is used that identifies the group and gives it cohesion. Terms such as regular pioneer, ministerial servant, circuit overseer, governing body, kingdom hall, Bethel, faithful and wise slave, anointed, system of things, etc., are group-specific terms whose meaning is usually unknown to those outside the group. 7. A system of rewards and punishments is used to inhibit old behaviors and strengthen a new sense of belonging. The rewards witnesses use range from praise for a good comment to granting greater privileges. This refers, in the case of men, to being appointed as a ministerial servant or elder, and in the case of women, to participating in a presentation or interview at the Kingdom Hall or an assembly. In this section, we must also mention the promise of eternal life. Among the punishments are censures, which are a kind of warning. Depending on the case, these can be private or public. In the case of the latter, the censure is announced from the Kingdom Hall platform. The reason for the censure is not mentioned, but the person's name is mentioned. Being censured entails losing privileges, such as those mentioned above. The worst punishment would be expulsion, in which case the congregation, and even the family, no longer live with the expelled person. We can also mention the fear of dying at Armageddon as a punishment. 8. exalted states of group consciousness are induced. In the case of Jehovah's Witnesses, this occurs through songs, mass assemblies, especially if they are international, stories of moving experiences, as well as the experience of baptism. If you or your family didn't cry during your baptism, I recommend checking to see if your DNA is actually human. You might discover you're reptilian. 9. Absolutely hierarchical or pyramidal structure. In my witnessing days, we're talking about the 1980s and 1990s, there was the governing body, zone overseers, branch committee, district overseers, circuit overseers, congregation elders, and ministerial servants. Some of these positions may have changed names, but the pyramidal structure remains. 10. Leading the person to abandon their main occupation and source of income. While most witnesses keep their jobs, everyone who can is encouraged to enter full-time service. This can range from working as a regular pioneer, which is something like a part-time preacher, to a special pioneer, which would be a full-time preacher, to a traveling overseer, who are elders who oversee congregations, or to Bethelites, who are those who work in witness branches around the world. All of them leave their jobs, partially or completely, which can be very dangerous from an economic standpoint if things don't go well. 11. Induce the belief that happiness and salvation are only found within the group. Something that people who have left this organization, especially those who were born into it, say, is that what limited them from making the decision was the fear that outside, in the world, as they call it, everyone was bad, that they would inevitably end up in disgrace. Just like when a toxic partner warns you that leaving them means ruining your life. Psychology is not an opinion. It's a discipline that systematically studies mental, emotional, and social patterns. Studies conducted by experts such as Singer, Lalick, and Lifton are models that apply to all types of sectarian groups, whether religious or not. What we've reviewed this time is that these patterns of coercive persuasion fit perfectly with Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm Nogwachi, and freedom begins where critical thinking and common sense begin. If you want to see more content like this, click the subscribe button on the left. And if you want to know what magical thinking is and how it relates to the beliefs of Jehovah's Witnesses, click the link on the right. See you sooner than it took Peter to deny Jesus.